All right, here we go. We should be good. We should be back in the building. Oh yeah, I see y'all in here. Shout out to the gang. Appreciate everybody being here on this Friday. I know a lot of y'all are probably gonna be taking off work and not going back to work until next year, which is crazy to say. Shout out to the gang. It's good to see y'all in here. You know what to do. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me up here looking all crispy and clean on the screen. And welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the ClassE Morning Show. I'm your host, ClassE, at patreon.com/ClassEbeats. By the way, the link is in the description as well as in the chat. And we're going to get into today. We got a lot to talk about. Y'all know it's Friday and we do not hold back on what we cover in the show. So we're going to talk about Fani Willis. We'll talk about Alan Jackson. We've got some more updates when it comes to Candace and her investigation into what's going on with the Charlie Kirk assassination as well. So make sure y'all stay tuned. But before I get into it, I gotta say what's up to the people, man. Shout out to everyone who's in here, all of y'all who make the show the great place it is. Shout out to first and foremost my awesome, amazing Amy in here, as always, holding it down, doing what she does best, and that's be amazing. Les Cleaver is in the building. We got A Fitz is back at it. Shout out to A Fitz. Alice is in here. Virginia Wiley's in the building. Sandy's up in here as well. And I will be saying good morning to y'all as we go throughout the show. Now, I don't ask for much on the show, but you all know if you watched the show before, I do ask that you like the video on your way in. Likes are free, helps the channel continue to grow, lets the algorithm know you guys are enjoying the show. It shares the video, the channel, and this live stream with more people. So thank you to the 1,100 of you that have liked the video, which is crazy. Man, y'all are going insane. And I know that's a lot of credit goes to Amy for being out there and promoting the show as well. Shout out to y'all. I see Chris is in the building too. Good to see y'all. So thank you for liking the video. Also, if you're feeling extra generous, you can share the video as well. All you have to do is click the button that says share. It's got an arrow that's curved pointing to the right. It allows you to share the video to Facebook, Instagram, X, any social media that you're on, and you can share it in your group chats via text, or you can share it to anyone through a text message as well. Last but not least, I will be reading super chats as we go throughout the show too. So thank you to everyone who goes the extra mile and sends in super chats. It's not required. I don't ask for it, but I know y'all like to support the show and help keep the lights on here as well. So thank you guys for that. Let's go ahead and get into it. Good morning to everyone who's just joining us as well. We've got a lot to talk about. Now, y'all know every so often, and it seems like more often than usual, I come up here and I have some grief for our DA, our district attorney here in Fulton County. Y'all know her, Fani Willis, especially when it came to how the YSL trial was covered, when it came to the election interference indictment that she lost essentially. But now we're actually going to talk about something good that Fani Willis has done here in Fulton County, and hearing about the conviction rate she's had and cleaning up a lot of the things that are going on here in Atlanta. There are some other points in this I want to address, and we'll get into in a second, but I want y'all to hear what Fani Willis had to say, and from Atlanta Police Department as well. Check this out.
Good afternoon. Today is a day really of celebration, although we're celebrating sad facts. I want to thank you for joining us here today. I am just extremely grateful, as you will often hear me say, of the Atlanta Police Department, but in particular to their leadership, Chief Darren Shearbaum. He's here with me today, and more importantly, he's here with me every day of the year as we fight together against crime. Due to the work of his detectives, his law enforcement agencies, combined with my prosecutors and investigators here, we are keeping the city safe and making the city safer every day. Today we are here to highlight this partnership and the success that we've had. I want to talk to you in particular about one case, but really the overall impact that Atlanta Police Department and the Fulton County District Attorney's teamwork is having together. We're very excited today to announce a successful prosecution and a conviction of Christopher Harley. Mr. Harley was a serial rapist, and he brutally raped 4 women in our county in 2022. He was convicted of violently assaulting these 4 women. Several whom were suffering from mental health issues and homelessness. And I want it to be known that he picked these women because they were the most vulnerable. And that is
Crazy.
who we are here as Atlanta Police Department and the Fulton County to protect. The work of Detective Stoddard and Detective Cooper was just phenomenal. And they need to get recognized. Everyone wants to beat up on the police and talk about them when they don't do a good job. I'm here today to celebrate the excellent work they did, and their work literally has kept countless women from also being sexually assaulted. And so we need to celebrate them and recognize their amazing detective work. They did not throw away victims that other people might not have thought had value. They gave their very best to make sure that this man was brought to justice. These crimes we were able to find out due to DNA evidence, and our sexual assault unit was able to use that evidence to convict Harley and get a very, very dangerous man off of the street of Atlanta before he raped other women. But the Harley investigation and this teamwork that we've been doing with the Atlanta Police Department, it is just one example of the success we have had. I would challenge anyone to look around the country and see what conviction rates are for sexual assaults, whether they be of children or of adults. Today, I can brag, and today I am going to brag. My sexual assault and special victims division has a 100% conviction rate. I want some.
All right. Hey, shout out to, we got to give her credit. I give Fanny a lot of grief. And I said this before, there are a lot of good things that she does. It's just, you know, the corruption, maybe that's a little bit of an issue. Shout out to the 100% conviction rate. We're going to get into the numbers and statistics here shortly.
Somebody to hear me. 100% conviction rate. That's for crimes against children. That's for adult sexual assaults. That's for human trafficking. That is for SAKI, which is our sexual assault kit initiative. We end the year with a 100% conviction rate. These cases are the hardest to investigate. They are the hardest to prosecute. And yet, with this police department at our side, we have managed to bring these people to justice time and time again. Too often in our society, we see vulnerable victims who are unvalued by society because of their race, because of their financial background, maybe because of mental health. And police do not take them seriously. But we know that we have a jeweled police department here in Atlanta that makes sure every victim is safe. And it is just an absolute pleasure to work with these gentlemen and to work with Chief Shearbaum. They are outstanding officers. We see the ongoing scandal of untested sexual assault kits here in Georgia. In past, too many rape victims were so undervalued that police departments did not even test the rape kits. Our SAKI unit, using federal grant dollars and Fulton County dollars, has been able to get many of those neglected kits tested, and we have found that we have been able to convict serial rapists. Our most recent being Randy Ball. That was also done with the help of the Atlanta Police Department. If you don't know, the Atlanta Police Department has actually put 2 officers here at the Fulton County DA's office so that we can work together more effectively and get serial rapists off the street. We have had an amazing partnership with SAKI and APD, who has assigned these detectives. We have also had a very effective partnership with APD and our Crimes Against Children unit. Those cases are also always challenging to investigate, with victims who are often unable to speak for themselves, and crimes that often happen in a home without a third-party witness. Our work with APD has been nothing less than exceptional, and we have had 2 recent convictions in these cases that I would like to highlight. One with the defendant, Markel Lewis, who was convicted of the sexual assault of an 11-year-old, a baby, a child, an 11-year-old child. One where Rodney McVeigh was convicted of the murder of starving to death his own 4-year-old. His own 4-year-old. And I think it should be known that he kept not only her, but his other 2 children in dog cages. These are the people that these officers work tirelessly to make sure we keep safe. These are the victims that my prosecutors and investigators work tirelessly to keep safe. And due to that partnership, we end the year, let me say it again, with a 100% conviction rate of crimes against children, of sexual assault, of human trafficking, of sake. And we know these cases are hard, but we want that society to know that they have people that are here to protect them, that they will come unjudged, and that we will fight for justice for them until the very end. With that, I would like the Chief of Police to speak about our partnership.
Thank you, Madam DA. Appreciate you. Well, good morning, everyone. Always appreciate the media being our conduit to the community and delivering these important messages to those that we serve. Our District Attorney, Willis, spoke of the partnership that we have with the DA's office. It's important. Our officers, our investigators work hard to make sure everyone in the city has the protection and the dignity of the law, regardless of who they are. And I do want to thank Investigator Cooper and Investigator Stoddard for your hard work on this case. One that could have maybe been easily to look at the status of an individual in our society, but you did not. You made sure everyone in the city does have the dignity and protection of the law. And Madam DA, your team has been phenomenal prosecuting the cases that we bring before you. And we have spoken of the reduction of shootings in our city over the last 4 years and the reduction of homicides in the cities for the last 4 years. But it's often victims like this that get forgotten and can easily be marginalized, and for the district attorney to be committed to make sure whatever cases we bring to her and her team, they will be fully prosecuted. So Investigators Cooper and Stoddard, I want to thank you for what you do to represent the best of our profession, making sure we give quality cases to the district attorney to prosecute. But I also want to thank our fugitive unit, because in the case of Harley, defendant Harley, those warrants were secured on March 28th. And on March 30th, that individual was in custody thanks to our fugitive unit, making sure that no other person in Fulton County or this state was going to be victimized.
Now, this is when the law is handled the right way. You should be able to move this quickly, especially in a situation like this, which is why, again, I have so much smoke for the LAPD when it comes to the David situation, because, man, y'all should have enough information to make an arrest somewhere. There has to be a way you can find someone connected. We got DNA, we got all this other stuff. Not that I just want them going around arresting people. It's like, man, if you know and you have enough information, you know, and you have the evidence, then move quickly, especially when it's someone who's participating in this type of serial activity.
Ladies and gentlemen, I assure you, had he not been removed from the street, there were going to be other victims. And it was going to be right here, likely, in our county. Yeah. I want to thank the jurors that served on this case, citizens of this county that heard the facts, made a decision to make sure that the safety of this county was optimized. And so, Madam DA, thank you for being a strong partner, being committed since day one of fighting not only gangs, guns, and drugs in Fulton County, but also making sure anyone that falls under the protection of this district attorney's office, of this police department, does have that full support. I just appreciate you. I look forward to next year making this a safer county and a safer city working with you. And I just want to, again, thank the team for doing a phenomenal job on behalf of our citizens.
Look at them go, man.
And with that, we will take a few questions about these cases, and we'll love to hear from you.
Now, this is what I wanted to hear, the question and answer.
Oh, my goodness. Kobe Cooper and Ronald Stoddard.
It's hard to hear the question, so I'll repeat them for you.
This conviction was just last week, Thursday. It came in. But we've had a year full of convictions, so we're very excited.
Yeah, you have. So marginalized victims, is there a fear about them not getting justice is the question.
That's absolutely true. Women, especially when they are victimized sexually, often they feel a sense of shame. That is also true for children. They feel a sense of shame and they don't want to be judged for their conduct. They're also terrorized. In this case, when I asked my team, what was the worst challenge we had here, and it was that our victims were terrified to come forward. And so my investigators moved heaven and earth to make sure that the victims were here, that they felt safe. My prosecutors and my victim witness advocates moved heaven and earth to make sure that they knew that this was a place where they were not being judged, that they did have value, and that we would continue to prosecute them and do our very best. And this year, our very best has turned out to be 100% when we bring someone to trial.
Now, why can't we get this version of Fannie during these hearings? I mean, so professional, well-spoken. Like, come on.
And was this work that was going on before? I know that you've done a lot of work starting the Family Victims Unit, the Children's Victims Unit. Was this something that you came into office wanting to tackle?
Yes, if you look across the nation, unfortunately, sexual assault, the conviction rates are very, very low. And so one of the things that I did when I came into office is I made sure that the investigators and the prosecutors that are in these particular units get specialized training, because it's specialized work.
And you have to remember, when Fannie came into office, the DA's office was a mess because of the previous district attorney. We're not going to talk about that too much. And COVID hit. So once COVID hit, everything was shut down here in Fulton County. And then there was a backlog of all these cases. Thousands and thousands and thousands upon these kits were just placed in the storage, placed in the room, and they weren't processed properly. So working through all that.
If you look across the nation, unfortunately, sexual assault, the conviction rates are very, very low. And so one of the things that I did when I came into office is I made sure that the investigators and the prosecutors that are in these particular units get specialized training, because it's specialized work. It's specialized work dealing with a child, right? They communicate differently. And so you have to know how to be able to communicate on their level so that you can effectively tell their story to juries. And this is a priority of mine. No person should be sexually assaulted. One thing, we have a lot of signs here with a lot of different cases. And if we talked about each case, one of those victims was 80 years old. That was actually a Hateville case, and Hateville did an excellent job. One of the victims was a little boy who was raped by a trusted friend, a babysitter. Another was a young lady. She was a high school student, and she was groomed and sexually assaulted for years. The text messages are nothing less than disgusting, that someone would take that child's innocence from her. What we know is that this goes across racial lines. It goes across socioeconomic lines, and none of these victims are responsible for what happened to them. But making sure they understand that when they're dealing with a fine department like the Atlanta Police Department, or an office like this district attorney's office, that we are only here to protect and serve. We are not here to judge them. We are only here to get them justice.
And you're able to speak to them after these convictions?
We are able to speak to them after these convictions. We are able to speak to them after these convictions. I've told a story as a young prosecutor. The first sexual assault case I ever tried, I actually lost it. I didn't lose many after that. But I remember that rape victim coming to me and thanking me. And I was really, 30 years old. Like, what are you thanking me for? We did not have the results you want. And she said, you were the first person that believed me. And the fact that you believed me and you fought for me, that meant everything to me. And so when we go to victims, we often can't promise the result, but we can promise that we will treat them with dignity, that we will believe them, and we will fight our hardest to get convictions. And that is what this team of outstanding prosecutors has done, is we have stood in the gap for these victims, and we're going to continue to stand with them. And I have the best prosecutors in the business. That's one thing I do an excellent job with, is I recruit talent and I take care of talent. And it's why I have an office that's 100% full with lawyers, 99.9% full with investigators, is because we know how to treat our people, but they know they got to fight if they're here.
One more for you, if you don't mind. Tomorrow, you're going to testify before the special.
Now they're asking her about the special committee she was going to be testifying before Senate. Y'all know we've covered that at length on this channel. This answer is hilarious.
Before the Supreme Court hearing last week played out, you announced that you were going to testify. Why the change of heart on going before that committee?
Well, what I can tell you is you were one of those children who wanted Christmas early. Christmas comes tomorrow, and I'm not going to talk about subjects other than this. We are in a country that has leaders that don't know how to lead and are not leaders.
Oh, man, here we go. Now pointing the finger. Fannie, you were sleeping with your special prosecutor. Come on now.
I want to say right now, we had a family
crazy
in California murdered by their son. That hit me particularly hard. Here we have the Brenda Bayham domestic violence unit, because I've shared with you, my uncle killed my aunt.
She's talking about the Reiner
I know what
case.
it does to a family when they are victimized, and you got keyboard bullies all across this country who are depraved. Make sure you write that I said it. They are depraved to actually attack families going through that kind of violence. As long as I am the district attorney, we are going to stand here in the gap for people that are victimized by violent crime. Me and the chief were just discussing how much violent crime has gone down in Fulton County because we fight hard for it every day. But we ought to, no matter
how much crime has gone down. I'd pull up the numbers on that. I wouldn't want to bore y'all to death. Just do the research yourself.
What side you are on the political aisle, we ought to stand up for victims. I have prayed for that family in California. Charlie Kirk, who never had a good thing to say about a black woman. I pray for his widow.
Hold on a second. Did I hear that right? Charlie.
He's going through that kind of violence. As long as I am the district attorney, we are going to stand here in the gap for people that are victimized by violent crime. Me and the chief were just discussing how much violent crime has gone down in Fulton County because we fight hard for it every day. But we ought to, no matter what side you are on the political aisle, we ought to stand up for victims. I have prayed for that family in California. Charlie Kirk, who never had a good thing to say about a black woman. I pray for his widow and his children daily.
That is a lie. Why do... Man, Fannie, y'all have seen the video. Charlie Kirk... I don't know where people get these talking points from, and Fani Willis is the queen of race baiting. But why you have to bring that up? And Charlie Kirk didn't have anything to say about Fani Willis that I know of. And we have tons of clips that we've seen of Charlie Kirk saying positive things about black people and even black women. There was a black woman that came up to the mic with her son. She started to ask her a question. Charlie Kirk stopped her and addressed that she had a beautiful child. It was a beautiful thing that she had. Come on, man.
Because what I know is now all the fanfare has gone. The press doesn't care. But she still has to comfort those small children. It doesn't matter if he liked me as an individual. He did not deserve to die in violence. Those people in Los Angeles did not deserve to die in violence. And you as the media, you have a responsibility to not neutralize and allow depraved people to actually further attack and dehumanize people that suffer that kind of victimization. Tomorrow you'll get Christmas.
Wow. All right. There's she just had to put that icing on the cake. We were so close. We were so close to having a good segment. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. Again, we're going to give Fannie and the Atlanta Police Department their applause for the work that they did here, because that backlog of these kits and these cases was just absolutely astronomical. So I want to know what y'all think in light of this happening before the Senate hearing. It's interesting to see the change of attitude there. Let me know what y'all think. Shout out to the game. We've got 8 of y'all in here. 8,000 of y'all in the building. 800 of y'all, but I like saying 8,000. We're speaking it to existence. Yes, for those of y'all questioning my maturity, you probably listen. I think you're gonna be disappointed. Pronounce Fannie names correctly. It sounds like Don, not Dan, but with an S. What are you, 6? Yes. Show some respect, if not for personally, for the office. No. I don't think that's been the precedent that's been set. I mean, respect is earned, and just because somebody has a title, I don't think that means you need to respect them. And it's okay. It's not that serious. I could say Fannie if I want to. All right. English is messed up. It's not my fault. Oh, Lord. I should have said good morning when Fannie was done bragging. Yeah. Shout out to y'all. We ain't got no quit in the building. We're going to get into our next topic. Thank y'all. If you haven't liked the video yet, please make sure you do that. Like the video on your way in as we get into our next topic. We're going to talk about Alan Jackson up here. And speaking of what Fani Willis had to say about the Reiner case, we're going to talk about it here in a minute. He said, keep it moving, New York. Said, bye, Fannie, with the IE. Oh, man, you're going to make him mad. She's a black woman. How dare you? How dare you not put her on a pedestal and praise every single thing she does and pronounce her name right? Respect the black woman. Y'all, it's not even that serious. Like, y'all just be finding the craziest things. Amy said, oh, what are you, the speech pronouncing police? Yeah, shout out to the SPP in here. Now, it's only because, yeah, anyway, we won't get into it. I'm going to let it go. Let's get into our next topic. I know y'all are ready for it. And thank you again to everyone that's liked the video. We've been covering what's happened with this, I guess we'll call it the Rick Reiner case. His parents were brutally murdered and found in the home, and now he is being indicted and he is arrested for their murder. Now, Alan Jackson, as y'all know, we know Alan Jackson very well here. He is defending and going to be representing Nick. We already saw Alan Jackson in court in previous videos. If y'all missed that, make sure you go check it out. And Alan Jackson is trying to get things moved along in court because he seems to believe he has a good case. Alan Jackson's doing his research as the great and amazing attorney that he is. He's going to the home of Rob and Michelle Reiner's, and it's a crime scene at this point. So we're going to look at this article from TMZ, and then we're going to get into actually hearing from Alan Jackson himself after he visited the home. Check this out. TMZ says Nick Reiner's, or am I saying it right? I know y'all said I mispronounced it right. Nick Reiner's attorney, Alan Jackson, visits the family home after Rob and Michelle's brutal murders. What happened? Nick Reiner's attorney, Alan Jackson, is getting a close look at the crime scene where Nick's parents, Rob and Michelle, were stabbed to death. And the police found that out. We heard the press conference about that as well. He's just been spotted visiting the home where the couple's bodies were found by their daughter on Sunday. So sad, man. Jackson was fresh from the courthouse when Nick wasn't seen today because he didn't have medical clearance to appear in court. And you see Alan Jackson walking up to the house here. Man, can y'all imagine going to this crime scene? Oh my gosh. It's sad. And he said, if you watch the video, you can see Jackson march down the usually quiet road flanked by news crews, causing a commotion with his arrival. Jackson carries a file with him, which he uses to gesture to his team, possibly instructing them on their first moves. As you know, Alan is one of the most well-known criminal defense attorneys out there, and he's no stranger to high-profile cases like this one. He recently got Karen Reed acquitted of murder in Massachusetts. Shout out to the Commonwealth. In a press conference on Tuesday, the LA County District Attorney Nathan Hotchman came out swinging, saying the death penalty is on the table. Dang. If Nick is convicted of murdering his parents. As we reported, Nick was arrested on suspicion of killing his parents after they were found stabbed to death in their Brentwood, California home Sunday afternoon. TMZ broke the story. Nick got into a heated argument with Rob at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party during Saturday night, loud enough for others to overhear. Enough to kill his mother and father, though? Rob and Michelle left the party after the fight. Hours after the party on Sunday afternoon, Rob and Michelle's daughter, Rami, I'm sorry, y'all. Rami discovered their stabbed and bloodied bodies at their Brentwood house. Rigor mortis had already set in, meaning they had been dead for hours, which, if it's Sunday afternoon, I mean, did he come back and kill them? Did he show up and kill them? What's being alleged here? Their daughter is the one who called the police and told them her brother Nick, who'd been living at the house, was dangerous and should be considered a suspect. Now it's being reported also that Nick struggled with substance abuse. I'm sure that's going to play a factor in here into his defense, and we'll hear that from Alan Jackson soon. I'm sure he's going to do an interview with Billy Bush at some point as well. Despite living there, Nick wasn't at home when the daughter made the discovery. Instead, he had checked into a hotel in Santa Monica around 4 a.m. on Sunday using his credit card. Interesting. The reservation was made just for a day, but Nick never formally checked out. When the staff came into the room later Sunday morning, they found a shower full of blood and blood on the bed. Oh. Nick was located Sunday evening in the Exposition Park neighborhood about 20 miles east of Santa Monica and arrested on suspicion of murder. He's currently being held on self-deletion watch at Men's Central Jail in LA without bail. Oh, that's tough. So now we've got Alan Jackson in court. Let's hear what he had to say about this. Check it out.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. Some news out of Southern California concerning Nick Reiner, who is facing 2 charges of murder for the deaths of his mother and father, Rob and Michelle Reiner. Alan Jackson is now representing Nick Reiner. He, of course, is the attorney who a lot of us watched during the Karen Reed case. He's as high profile as it gets in Los Angeles. And according to Alan Jackson, he says that his client will not be in court today, Tuesday, for medical reasons. Jackson told reporters outside of the courthouse that he didn't know the medical reasons, what the issue was, but said that his client, Nick Reiner, will not appear before Wednesday. Alan Jackson just coming on board on this case. Our Cody Thomas is at the LA courthouse. We'll have more throughout the day as now this takes a little bit of a different turn when someone like Alan Jackson enters the fray. That's for sure. Marie Pereira with us quickly. Marie, before we head back to Bakersfield for more of the closing arguments in that case, your thoughts on A, Alan Jackson representing Nick Reiner, and B, medical issues. We do know he was on suicide watch, will not be in court today.
My immediate thought is that they hired a big gun. And from what I know about the son, how is he affording an Alan Jackson? It lets me think that the family support him. And it lets me believe that the medical condition is mental health. Even though we don't think mental illness is like physical illness, it is a medical condition. And I believe for him to engage in this sort of parricide, killing both his parents in such a brutal way, he had to have some sort of a mental illness. And I anticipate mental illness, drug use, addiction, and the effects of the drugs on his mind is going to be a big part of Alan Jackson's defense.
That's tough, though. I mean, that can't be the key thing. And we have to think about a jury here, too. I hate to interrupt her. We have to think about a jury here. And is a jury really going to buy, well, his mental wasn't all there. He was inhibited in some way. I mean, if he booked a hotel, was able to check in the hotel, what time did that take place? Again, we still got a lot of information we've got to hear. This is gonna be tough.
They did hire big guns, and it shows family support because, again, a man like Alan Jackson, with his skills, doesn't come cheap.
Absolutely, a family ripped apart because of the actions, apparently, of Nick Reiner. That is not a live look. That is just a tape of Alan Jackson. Of course, we know him well. Here at Court TV, we'll continue to monitor, but the headline at this hour is that Nick Reiner will not be making his initial court appearance as we first expected because of a medical issue, and that Alan Jackson has been retained to represent Nick Reiner.
And the president spoke out about this too. And a lot of people are outraged about this. I'm not seeing why. Maybe you guys can inform me of what the issue is here. We're going to read through it again and see what the president had to say about the Reiners. He says, a very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling, but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with the mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome. What is the president talking about? Sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before. May Rob and Michelle rest in peace. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this from the president. Making it about him is definitely odd, and it really has nothing to do with the facts of this case. But he also had this to say. Let's hear what he had to say about his comments, because after he made those comments, he got a lot of smoke from pretty much everyone. I'm a Trump supporter, this person says, who posted the video, but I'm extremely disappointed with his comments regarding the murder of Rob Reiner. There's no need to speak ill of the dead or to turn this into an all about himself. The left does this, not us. Be best, Mr. President.
A number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. You know, it was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country.
Well, he doubled down on that, so I guess you're not getting an apology from the president. What can you do? Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. You know, we got Alan Jackson here is going to be ready to go. We should be hearing some updates coming in January, so make sure you stay tuned and let me know what y'all think. Thank you to everybody who's in here too. Shout out to all 8,000 of y'all. Thank you for the super chat. From Jane Q Public in here says, my question is, where is Wade Bigelow, Fanny's gigolo? Come on. What did she do to him? He only gave a closed door deposition and we haven't seen him since. It's crazy you say that, Jane Q Public. Give me a second, y'all. It's crazy you say that because I was thinking the exact same thing. I was surprised Nathan Wade wasn't at the hearing. I was surprised Nathan Wade hasn't made a statement. I mean, obviously, he said he was going to go ahead and kick himself off the case, but it was very weird indeed. So that's a great point. Great thing to point out. They're still together. They've been seen together even after the entire situation went down. So, it makes you wonder what's going on there. Yeah, y'all said what a weird comment. I'm not a fan of that comment by the president either. I think it was uncalled for. No need to make it about you because ain't nobody talking about that. Nobody's talking about Trump derangement syndrome. So you can't win them all. Like I said, president misses some and hits some. Fannie Willis misses some and hits some. They're just people at the end of the day. All right, let's get into this next topic. Y'all know we got to talk about Candace Owens. You see it in the title. And when it comes to what's been going on, Candace Owens and her investigation, there's a lot of updates and a lot of information here. If you haven't seen, if you haven't heard, we're going to get into it shortly. Let me read a couple more comments to see what y'all have to say. Not at all. The victim blaming and WTF is Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah. We're going to let that one go. We're moving on, Mr. President. You have fun with that one. Oh, man. That's so sweet of Trump. Already subscribed. Thank y'all for being here, man. Shout out to everybody who's in the building. All right, let's go ahead and get into this next topic. For some reason, let me double check and make sure we're still good. Can y'all hear me and see me? Let me see. Let me double check and make sure we're okay. We should be good to go. Because I can see, okay, I can see y'all's comments. Our president makes self-inflicted problems that spread to his supporters. Not the smart ones. There are a lot of deranged people on both sides. I think the president is very good at riling people up, and with social media in general. I mean, look at how he got his start. He wasn't a two-time president before this. He's a businessman. He knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. Same with all of them. So you just gotta hopefully be smarter and be able to parse through the BS, because there's a lot of it out there. Thank you, Virginia Wiley. You said we're good. So we good. So in light of everything that happened with Erica Kirk and Candace Owens meeting, y'all know Turning Point USA had their entire huge America Fest. I don't know what the point of America Fest is. Honestly, I haven't looked into it, but it looks like it's an event where people come to support what Turning Point USA is doing, support the American dream, the American vision, and also to talk trash allegedly about Candace Owens. It was weird to see some of these clips, especially from people who were involved and who were surrounding this situation, almost like it was weird at Charlie's memorial when even the president of the United States took the time at the podium to take shots at his opponents, to take shot at other people. So it was strange. But Candace Owens, she met with Erica. Now the next day, America Fest started. And Erica Kirk said we were going to be hearing from her. She had something to say and an interesting joke to make when she finally took the podium. Y'all check this out.
All 50 states represented. We have 25 countries represented plus Puerto Rico, but I have the list here. Don't worry, guys. Egypt is not on the list. Don't worry about that.
Boo. The joke didn't land.
Oh, how funny. I say Egypt and my iPad turns on. That's fun. Where were we? Okay. So anyways, shout
out to Erica with their corny joke. I didn't think it was funny, but we've got more drama when it comes to America Fest because Ben Shapiro, I'm not going to comment on Ben Shapiro, but he has had a back and forth and beef with Candace Owens, especially since she is no longer with the company that he was with, the media company that Ben Shapiro helps run and works for. Not going to get into that whole situation, but he took his time at America Fest to attack Candace Owens and anybody who's supporting her movement. And I have something I want to say about this in a second. I'm going to let y'all hear what Ben has to say and give your own thoughts. Check this out.
Coalitions. It's the job of those of us who try to shape public opinion to hold politicians to account and to hold them accountable to our values. We must not let fear of audience deter us from telling the truth. We must not let fear of other hosts deter us from telling the truth. So, for example, if Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk if Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk casting aspersions at TPUSA and the people who work here, who worked with Charlie every single day, his best friends, to cast aspersions at Mikey McCoy and Andrew Colvin and Blake Neff and Tyler Boyer, and yes, at Erica Kirk, and to imply or outright claim complicity in a cover-up over Charlie's murder, to spew absolutely baseless trash implicating everyone from French intelligence to Mossad to members of TPUSA in Charlie's murder or a cover-up in that murder, then we, as people with a microphone, have a moral obligation to call that out by name.
Shut up, Ben. Stop it. Just because we disagree doesn't mean you have a moral obligation to do something. Listen, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense. And I want to show you guys something I tweeted in response to this. And I want to ask you all this that are watching this video, you all that will be in the live chat, in the comments. And here's what I said. At first, I thought this was the underdog effect when it came to Candace Owens. And people are basically just cheering for Candace because she's fighting the man. She's going against the power. But now I find it odd that so many people want to shut her up. What are they so afraid of? And I asked that question because Candace has made it very clear that what she's seeing in the investigation, what she's hearing, doesn't make sense. And when you talk about America, and you're at AmeriFest or America Fest, one of the great things about America is that you're innocent until proven guilty. And the way Ben Shapiro, Erica Kirk, Andrew Colvin, Blake Neff, pretty much everyone involved and close to Frank Turek, all of them have moved and have already convicted Tyler Robinson. Why is that? Why is that happening? What happened to innocent until proven guilty? What evidence have we seen that explicitly points to Candace Owens? I haven't seen any. I've seen someone who was running around the campus, allegedly had a gun, maybe possibly could have fit the build and shape and the size and the hair color of Tyler Robinson. I have reports that Tyler Robinson strangely turned himself in after being caught by his parents, and the mom calls and says, "Hey, that looks like Tyler. Call him and see if that was him." Tyler said, "Oh, you guys got me." We've got the weird text messages allegedly that took place between Tyler Robinson and his boyfriend / girlfriend. It doesn't make any sense. And we're supposed to assume Tyler Robinson is innocent. With that being said, why again would we be giving Candace Owens so much grief on this when they're all ready to just throw Tyler Robinson away? That is so anti-American in itself. And I don't understand why Ben Shapiro and the entirety of Turning Point USA are moving this way in the first place. What are they so afraid of from Candace Owens? Why would you want her to stop talking? Why do they hate her so much? Because she wants to understand why people did what they did and her friends did? I don't get it.
Implicating everyone from French intelligence to Mossad to members of TPUSA in Charlie's murder or a cover-up in that murder, then we, as people with a microphone, have a moral obligation to call that out by name. Erica Kirk and TPUSA never should have been put in the position to have to defend themselves against such specious and evil attacks, particularly in a time of mourning.
They're calling her evil because she's saying, hey, dude, you said this happened, and actually it was proven that something else happened. Why'd you say that? Hey, Andrew, you told Candace the day before Charlie was shot and killed that he was afraid for his life, and then you went on camera and said that wasn't true. Then we saw evidence of it. What is evil about this?
And the people who refuse to condemn Candace's truly vicious attacks, and some of them are speaking here, are guilty of cowardice. Yes, cowardice.
This is weird. It's weird.
The fact that they have said nothing while Candace has been vomiting all sorts of hideous and conspiratorial nonsense into the public square for years is just as cowardly. Coalitions.
Yeah, Ben, I don't know what happened to Ben. I used to be a fan of Ben, and I think he stood on good principles, but now we could see, and there's been a shift. One of the people he's actually talking about and taking shots at, awkwardly enough, was someone who was going to be speaking there, and that was Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson, of course, did not take this lying down. Tucker Carlson totally upstaged Ben Shapiro, very mature, well-articulated response after Ben Shapiro called for Tucker to be denounced on a Amerifest stage. Really poor use of his platform. That's not what Charlie would have wanted. We're better than this. And again, a weird, very weird situation. Especially calling it America Fest. I don't get it.
I just got here and I feel like I missed the first part of the program. I hope I didn't miss anything meaningful. But I just want to say, I don't think I did. No, I'm just kidding. I watched it. I laughed. That kind of bitter, sardonic laugh that emerges from you when like Upside Down World arrives. When your dog starts doing your taxes and you're like, wait, it's not supposed to work this way. To hear calls for like deplatforming and denouncing people at a Charlie Kirk event, I'm like, what? This is hilarious.
It's weird.
Yeah, this is hilarious. Actually, one of the clips I was listening to myself, thinking as I often do when I hear myself speak, which is never, because I never watch myself, but at these events, they always play like the role of you. And I'm like, that guy is pompous. Woo! Sorry about that. We don't see ourselves clearly. But the prediction that, at some point when Republicans took power again, which I did everything I could, to help, and I really felt that was important. I still think, I was right. But I really thought that the impulse to deplatform people, or even to use the word platform as a verb, which it's not, it's a noun, don't steal my nouns, deplatform and denounce. Why haven't you denounced somebody else? The whole like Red Guard cultural revolution thing that we so hated and feared on the left, that we did everything we could to usher in a new time where you could have an actual debate. I mean, this kind of was the whole point of Charlie Kirk's public life. And I think that, that he died for it. I really believe that. And I know a lot about it because the last several months of Charlie's life were devoted in part to arguing about this event, in fact, this speech, in fact, my speech here, which he asked me to do earlier this year, this summer, and was immediately put under just immense pressure from people who give money to Turning Point, I would assume good people, but who wanted him to take me off the roster.
So, Tucker Carlson, I'm sure Candace is going to talk about this today. Tucker Carlson is saying at this event that is happening right now, he has this speech prepared. He talked to Charlie about it. He said, this is what I want to say. Charlie said, let's do it. Then he was getting pressure from certain donors and certain people and certain groups, Ben Shapiro, who didn't want Tucker Carlson to do it. And we saw this in the text messages that Charlie sent. He said, I'm getting frustrated with the pressure from this side of things. That could have been about Tucker. And he even mentioned Tucker in that text message, saying they're trying to control every single thing I do, and I'm just ready to get rid of them. And people said, hey, yo, chill, Charlie, we can figure out a way to still keep the money flowing.
And this has all become public, and the whole thing is so sad that I never talk about it, except to say Charlie stood firm in his often stated and deeply held belief that people should be able to debate, and that if you have something valid to say, if you're telling the truth, you ought to be able to explain it calmly and in detail to people who don't agree with you, and that you shouldn't immediately resort to shut up racist. You shouldn't immediately go to motive.
I agree.
By the way, shut up racist is the #1 reason I voted for Donald Trump. And because I'm just sick of it. I mean, first of all, if I was a racist, if I was a bigot, I would just say so. Okay, it's America. You're allowed to be whatever kind of person you want. I'm not.
Are you?
Sincerely opposed, have always been, and will always be. But the style of debate where you prevent the other side from talking or being heard because you immediately go to motive, well, I wonder why you're asking that question. I wonder why. Why are you asking that question? I detect in the question a certain evil in your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone listening should know that listening to you implicates them. And that they someday may be asked to denounce you. And that friendship is not a reason to defend someone.
Yeah.
Love is no defense. I kind of thought we'd reached the end of that. And as far as I'm concerned, we have. And I'm not going to play by those rules. I'm not going to engage in that. If someone doesn't like what I think, fine with me, as long as I get to express it. That's
yeah. Shout out to Tucker Carlson. An amazing message there. All Candace is doing is what Charlie fought and died for. And as she should, she should continue to, especially after her meeting with Erica and seemingly getting the green light to, quote unquote, keep going and not stopping. And we're going to hear from Candace and talk about Candace a little bit later. But while interesting enough, while AmeriFest was going on, Candace, of course, was cooking up on her own and actually did an interview. And we're going to look at parts of that interview in another video with the man she mentioned she received emails from, saying that Erica Kirk and others were possibly in a high security level meeting shortly before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Check this out.
That you, if you had to put it at a percentage that you saw Brian Harpole, what percentage would you put it at?
95.
95%. Okay.
95 to 99.
Security guy.
Yeah, with that photo, it struck me in my gut. I blew it off until there was, some other pictures that came up with other people.
What other people? Other pictures?
If you want me to say, there's a picture of Erica Kirk with a ponytail, and from her past. That person matches who I saw at Fort Huachuca in the lobby the night before, and she was with that man in the lobby, and that man, he was present at that meeting.
Wow.
The next morning.
If you had to put it at a percentage that you saw that the girl in the ponytail matches the description of Erica Kirk, what percentage would you put that at?
Those are really rare eyes.
They are.
That's 95 to 99%. I can't imagine somebody else.
So I'm going to allow the internet to hear your testimony, hear what you think. And I also want to show them a picture because we did look through some congressmen and I didn't tell you where they were congressmen from, but there is one that you thought looked familiar. And I am going to show that picture of him now. This is, and Skylar, someone's got to get in my ear because I'm blanking on his name. Mark Amodi. Is that right? Mark Amodi from Las Vegas. And you thought that this could potentially be the congressman that you saw on the 9th?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's
What
the one that walked closest to
percentage?
me.
That's the one that walked closest to you.
That's 95. I'm absolutely, after I've looked at it, that was definitely the guy.
All right, so we're going to hear more about that and get into more of the interview from Candace in another video. Let me know what y'all think about this. And please answer the question that I asked earlier in this video. Why are they so heavily trying to silence Candace? I have a hard time believing that it's because their feelings are hurt or they don't like that Candace is mentioning Andrew Colvin or attacking Blake Neff. It's clearly because of the money. And even Candace, when we saw her first live stream after she met with Erica Kirk, she told us exactly what I knew. Erica Kirk looked at her. She said, hey, listen, you're messing up the money. Chill out. You're messing up the money, Candace. We got money to make. We got things we're trying to do. Just can we do this a different way? What is the other reason? We'll see how Candace is going to move forward after this. Obviously, she's still going with her investigation, and we're going to talk about it in another video moving forward. Let me know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat. Thank you again. We still got 8,000 of y'all up in here. Appreciate everybody. I know y'all have a lot of thoughts about this because Candace is such a polarizing topic. And listen, if you are a blind follower of Candace Owens, hey, listen, you probably shouldn't watch this channel because I am the president of objectivity and I'm going to call it as I see it. And if I'm not just going to be blindly loyal to Candace Owens because she's Candace Owens. So if that's what y'all are looking for, another channel that's like that, then you're in the wrong place. And I think Candace would appreciate that too. Yeah, there are things I agree with her on. There's things I don't agree with her on and don't like. And we're going to talk about it here shortly. Who the F is that man? Yeah, she's going to talk about it in her interview. Oh, shout out to my guy, Stephen G in here from down under in Australia. Prayers go out to Australia. I know y'all are dealing with some tragic things out there, Stephen G. Hopefully you're doing well. And he drops the 8 bomb and just showing some love. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate the support. Always good to see you in here because I know there's a time difference over there. But thanks for stopping by. Yes, they can't talk to Candace. It looks like they want to go after her. What is the Daily Wire? I don't want to get into the whole Daily Wire thing because that's past the scope, I think, of this show. Maybe I need to start another show and talk about it. But everything that went down at the Daily Wire was ridiculous. The beef that Candace Owens has with Ben Shapiro, I mean, it needs to be put aside. And for Ben Shapiro at an event that has Charlie Kirk's name on it, and then to talk about censoring people, it doesn't make sense. This man lost his life having conversations with people who didn't agree or believe what he believed. It's anti-Charlie Kirk. Come on, man. Erica has an amazingly impressive comeback though, or comeback too, because I know they were hiding evidence. That's why they can't be arrested. And somebody said this. I need to see if I could find this over on X. Someone made a great point. Like, hey, turning point. Why don't y'all just sue Candace? Is it because she's just such a great friend, as Blake Neff said, and being a friend to Charlie? I thought she would just be a better friend and not do this. Sue her. Sue her. And again, if Erica Kirk, the CEO of Turning Point, is meeting with Candace Owens, it seems like that's one of the things you would say. Like, hey, listen, if you keep this going, we're going to have to sue you. And Candace is still going. So Erica can't say that. She didn't say that, probably because what? They don't want discovery. Insane, man. I'm trying to find it because that was such a great point by whoever pointed that out. But I can't find the tweet. Anyway, we're gonna talk about and get into Candace's other live stream that she did yesterday, because this is where we get the full interview from this fine gentleman here who she's going to talk about. Candace should keep looking into this. Why do they keep stopping her? You're spot on. Such a weird situation. Nothing I wouldn't do to investigate the murder of my husband. Yes, you're right, ClassE. Oh, Hunter, I know he hates Charlie. Candace is exposing all the corruption. They're trying to stop her. Yeah, telling someone to stop looking is weird. Oh, don't look at that. Don't look into it. I'll just be like, yeah, keep looking. If there's something there, there's something there. If not, move on to the next thing. Doesn't make any sense at all. So let's keep it moving. We got more updates from Candace Owens, and we're going to get into more of this interview she did with this man who has the inside knowledge of a meeting that took place shortly before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, because that kid just debated Charlie. Yep, exactly. ClassE, I forgot to tell you, I remember when I went to Google's search area, it says Mikey McCoy's father shot Charlie because Charlie didn't believe in their religion. I don't think that's the case. I mean, that one's kind of, I haven't seen any evidence to that, but yeah. Who knows? Let's go ahead and get into it. So Candace Owens, again, even after her meeting with Erica Kirk, has been continuing to do her investigation into the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And now we're going to hear this interview she did with the gentleman who says he has inside knowledge of a meeting that took place days before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And allegedly, Charlie Kirk's security team was there. Erica Kirk was allegedly there. And we're going to hear it here from Candace. Now, I want you guys to go over and to continue to support Candace Owens in her quest for the truth. I will leave a link to this full live stream in the description for y'all, so you can go check it out and follow her and show her some love. Here we go.
Show a timeline, but about, you don't have to be perfect here. We already showed a timeline, but like you get to the base and just kind of what's your general mood. And this is on September 8th, the evening of September 8th at the Candlewood Inn and Suites, which you have given me all the documentation for.
2 days before Charlie was assassinated.
Okay. Yeah. Getting into Tucson, there was a little bit of a issue getting the rental car and stuff. So that took a little while, a little bit of a delay, but we made reservations ahead of time for me to be there. And yeah, I get down to the base. For those that think that people can't get on base, no, typically you can, as long as you have your ID, your insurance, and you have a purpose for being there. I certainly did. That's why
you can show that documentation as he's speaking. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, we made reservations, and I got to the hotel. I had to, it was sort of hard to find, but once I found it, I sort of recognized it because it was, that was actually the barracks that I had when I was there in AIT training, but they converted it. So yeah, that was pretty cool. All of a sudden I'm staying in the same barracks. Really nice place, by the way, wonderful beds. But yeah, I check in, and as I'm doing that, you can tell that there's regular military people, young kids that are there, probably just checking in to post, stuff like that. There were a couple people that stood out.
Military people?
They're a little bit older, and as I'm checking in, one guy that was sitting on the couch, he just had a sheen to him. Looked like he had a professional military sheen to him. If I had to guess, being a special forces guy, I would have guessed that he's ex-special forces, probably doing, something down there, probably contract. He was definitely waiting on something. And
age about, just so we can get a description, age?
I'd say 33 to 40, about there, give or take. I wasn't there to check out people or check ID cards. I just happen to know him. And veterans, especially SF guys, when you notice somebody like that, I almost had the impression, so much so, that I was going to go up and ask him what group he was with and say hi and thank him for his service. I didn't really get that chance. So as I'm checking in and then I go to my room and then come back out, he was joined, and joined by a female that you can definitely tell when, how do you put it, when people are well off and they're dressing down. She was definitely dressing down, and it was very well kept. The one thing I noticed about the woman that really stuck out to me was her eyes. And I have an ex that has caused me a lot of problems. So when I see someone with striking blue eyes like that, they stick out. And I was on the phone with my wife here, and I even told her about it. I said, "Oh, geez, somebody has those kind of eyes." It creeped me out a little bit, and it had nothing to do with that person. Just, life is what it is. But as I was checking in, I was going to go back and actually talk to that person, the guy, and between me at the front desk and then going back to my room one time and then coming back out, I was going to go to dinner. They had gotten into, there was a vehicle parked out front, big green truck. It looked like a real shiny GSA type. They were getting into that vehicle and driving off. And that night I went to dinner at some, a little bit crazy. The people in Sierra Vista, they can probably verify, there was a Mexican sushi place in Sierra Vista. So I got dinner and it was a pretty good place, actually. And then I came back and went to sleep that night. Got up early the next morning, wanted to see the sunrise, reminisce about, there we go. Just reminisce about having been there a long time ago. Even stopped to talk to some of the police. They tried to give me directions to see ID, but the buildings there are they're sort of old World War II, and they're also built on top of the foundations of like almost Alamo era rocks and stuff, and some of them aren't really well marked. So his direction sort of led me off on a wild goose chase.
And I'll interject here while you're having a sip of water that this is.
So shout out to our resident body language expert in here. Amy says, and I asked her about his body language as he's going through this interview. She said, steady eye contact with the host suggests confidence and engagement. Avoiding eye contact or darting eyes when answering tough questions can signal discomfort or uncertainty. Mitch repeatedly looked away from the camera or Candace when making bold claims that may show stress or hesitation. Leaning forward indicates eagerness to persuade or share information.
And I'm sure when you accidentally take a video and it's 18 minutes long while this guy's giving you directions, which you've sent everything over. So there's no question you were here and everything happened because you tried to document this thinking you were going to get some justice from the past. And I will let you continue telling the story.
Yeah, I was there to get help. I was really figuring some people would have have some answers for me. I couldn't find CID, but as I'm wandering around, and I finally decided, I need to get some coffee and wake up, maybe have a little breakfast. I noticed that there's some signs there that say JTF and JTF headquarters. I went into a couple of the buildings. There was nobody there yet. So I continued on. I went and got coffee, ran into some 10th Mountain people there. They said they were there for JTF. We sort of talked. I bought them coffee, I think, for their service. I asked where there would be a headquarters that I could go to speak to someone. They tried to explain it to me. I forget, they gave me a building name. And I don't necessarily we don't want to disclose that kind of stuff, but I went right back to the front gate. And as I came in, as they scanned me in with my ID card, I asked the gate guard there, where would this building be and how would I get there? He gave me detailed instructions on how to get there, how to wind around to get to that building. So I did. And it was obviously a temporary setup for this new command down there. There was no gate guard. There was, I think they did have some barbed wire around the field and the building, which made me hesitate for a second. But it was a parking lot, so
wow.
I just went in and parked. I was on the phone with my missus here and told her, we'll see how it goes. We'll see what they say here, and I'll call you in a few. I ended up not being able to call it back for about 7 hours. And you can, being in the military for a while, you notice when there's a lot of high-ranking people around, and you notice when there's a little bit of a buzz. And I walked in there. I didn't know if this was just a new type of army that I haven't seen for a while. But I walked up to the front desk. I sort of told him what I wanted. I initially talked to one captain for about 5 minutes, and then he stepped back out. He was going to go get someone. I stood there at the front, and as I did, the guy that I thought was an ex-SF guy, he had walked out from wherever it was, and he was sort of walking out to the front doors, and he stood there for a while waiting. And then 3 more people came around, civilian dressed, and one, he looked like a congressman, had the pin, had the flag, congressman suit.
Interesting.
And there were a couple of people next to him, and obviously they were trying to talk to him, and they were sort of palling around, but it was also sort of serious. And some of the military lieutenant colonels there and the unit sergeant major escorted them out. They got into one of the GSA's. For anybody in the military that knows about GSA, they own everything in the government.
Could you, sorry, for those of us who don't know about this GSA, just to break it down for us, I'm sorry to be so ignorant. What does that stand for?
No. What was it? Government Services Administration, or
okay,
I forget what it is.
No worries.
What they basically maintain all the property for the federal government.
Okay.
So if you're in the military or if you're in the federal government and you need a vehicle, basically you go to one of the GSA places, and it's like renting a vehicle at Enterprise or something, but you have orders attached to it. Some of those vehicles they're reserved at any GSA where they have VIPs that come in. For those in the know, they keep a reserve set of vehicles, and
yes,
they're extra shiny. They're like new off the lot. Their tires aren't worn very well.
Interesting.
So they all got into one of those vehicles and they left. The sergeant major came back in. Him and I was teasing him about his tabs and how he didn't have his long tab, and I think he had a Ranger tab and airborne. Or no, he didn't have airborne. He had air assault. Anyway, I was teasing him about some of that. Was supposed to go back and talk to him. I was finishing signing in when, a couple more captains came around the corners and they escorted me way out. They wanted to take me out of the building. I thought I was getting arrested, and I didn't know what I had done wrong. I'd given my name, the missions I had been attached to. I given the purpose why I was there. And I was very polite about it. I was trying to be discreet as possible. And I had no idea what I was walking into. Obviously, when congressmen are around, there's something special going on. But yeah, they escorted me out across the parking lot to the park benches there. And one of the captains there, his name was Captain Neff. Nice guy. And I started telling him my story, what I'm telling you, and what I was there for. Yes, that's the guy. Real decent gentleman. And as we sat there, the other captain went in, was going to get the sergeant major, and I don't know exactly what happened, but before long, there was a bunch of cruisers pulling up. There were police officers from different levels of the government. I couldn't tell you all the different types of law enforcement that were there surrounding me, and sort of putting up a wall between me and the front door. I did catch that there was yet another, I don't know if it was the same GSA vehicle returning or a different one, but that did pull up to the building. I couldn't see who got in it. And it ended up sort of a big deal. They kept interrogating me, trying to gaslight me, asking me about what I was there for, like I was some sort of a spy. Yeah, and then they mentioned a bomb threat. They wanted to check my vehicle. Mentioned that because I was in special forces, obviously I must be some sort of a bomb threat. And for me, I just figured this had to be some sort of the false flagging that I've encountered from before. Some sort of residual effect from that.
So you're just thinking, this has got something to do. This has been 35 years running. The government's corrupt. It's all about me finding this cartel tunnel, and this is just going to be the story of my life, never getting any justice. That's what's going through your mind.
And at this point, yeah, people in the government start pointing guns at me. My house has been squatted and stuff like that. I just roll my eyes. I literally.
Sorry.
I was just throwing my car keys. They wanted my car keys. I chucked it over. I said, yeah, if you don't mind, park it closer because my bones are getting old and it hurts. I don't want to walk that far.
So sad.
So Captain Neff was really nice. And I asked him what this was about. He tried to shrug it off and say he didn't know. There was another lady that seemed to be conducting what this overreaction was. And she was definitely, she was in plain clothes, undercover, big sunglasses, Hispanic woman. Right, if I had to guess, probably Secret Service or something like that. She didn't want to approach me directly. She was directing how other people would approach me and ask me questions, get my documents, stuff like that. Eventually, they said, "Okay, we're going to take you to another location." They took me to. They finally showed me where the CID building was, I guess. Put me in there, and they recorded me for a while. Asked me a few questions, and they were very concerned about the next 24 hours. Like they wanted to make sure, I don't know, maybe that I wasn't there for some other purpose or related to something. It was pretty odd. They didn't answer any of the questions I was there for.
And Amy says saying can mean something, but is not automatically a lie. In body language and behavioral analysis, is a verbal hesitation. Its meaning depends on the context, frequency, and timing. Cognitive processing most commonly means the process or the person, is searching for words, organizing their thoughts, transitioning to a new idea. This is normal, especially in interviews, high pressure conversations, live or unscripted settings. That makes sense.
Oh, they didn't give me the documentation they wanted. They did give me a report number to go ahead and you went ahead and I gave that to you.
You did.
We'll see what that says. But yeah, they were looking for any excuse to try and hold me up for like 24 hours. And that 24-hour number kept getting repeated by them. And then eventually they didn't have anything to hold me. I wasn't a harm to myself or others. I wasn't there to, spy on anybody. I really just wanted to get records and get out of that desert. As reminiscent as it was, the place creeps me out a little bit. So, yeah, once they said you have to stay off base for 24 hours, don't worry about it, I ain't coming back. Got to Tucson, stayed the night there in a hotel. Never got a refund on my Candlewood Suites. But yeah, got on the plane, and before we touched down, I had a stop off in Salt Lake City. By the time we wheeled down, we got the news about Charlie Kirk.
Wow.
And of course, that's been just all over the news. Everybody's watching it, and I don't think anybody's believing what the federal government's saying about it for sure. But what I noticed, I don't know these people from TPUSA. Never been associated. I could recognize Charlie Kirk probably. But what I started seeing come across got more familiar once I saw a picture of somebody in a ponytail with those eyes. That was that person. They were there.
You said Erica was there.
Yeah, the head of security there. He was one of the people walking out with the congressman. Now,
wow.
How would I know that? I just have a gift for recognizing people, and Yeah, maybe it's not him. Maybe he has doppelganger, but somebody with the same mannerisms, the same crick in his neck, face, the waxy look on his face, hand gestures, shoulder shrug, gait, approximate height, haircut, definitely walked past me. And
if
in
you
the
had
hotel,
to put it at a percentage that you were looking at Brian Harpole, maybe he's got a brother in the military, who knows, right? Maybe he does have a doppelganger, he's got a twin brother, who knows? And I want to be clear, I can confirm on this podcast live every step of your story in terms of where you went, what time you were there, that there was this big meeting that happened. I confirmed the location with other people that are on Fort Huachuca currently. I can confirm everything with metadata. I obviously can't confirm that you saw who you say you saw. If you had to put it at a percentage that you saw Brian Harpole, what percentage would you put it at?
95.
95%. Okay.
95 to 99. I mean,
What do y'all think? I'm gonna leave a link to this, and y'all can finish watching the interview on Candace's channel. But this entire story is interesting. If Erica was in this high-level security meeting with someone who was running and the head of their security several days before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, there's got to be something there. I know Candace, the way she's run things, there's going to be more information released. We're going to talk about this here as soon as that happens. Let me know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat. All right, gang. I appreciate every single one of y'all. This story is wild. Y'all said this is a wild story. Shout out to our resident body language expert, the beautiful Amy E. Of course, as always, my beautiful Amy E in here. Shout out to Amy, being absolutely amazing. She dropped the super sticker, reminding me, not only is she amazing, but she's got all the cake in the world. I need to get some lunch. Thank you, Amy, for the love and for the super chat as well. We're going to get up out of here. We will be back on Monday, as y'all know, and we'll be dropping several other videos throughout the weekend. So make sure, if you haven't yet subscribed, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that we go live or drop a new video on the channel. I appreciate every single one of y'all that liked the video. Y'all have no idea how much that helps. 1,200 of you. Hit the like button, like the video on your way out. As always, you know what to do. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gonna get out of here. We gone. Peace.